Hi all, Rachel here with Givebutter again. You are going to really enjoy today's success story. In fact, you may have seen it. We've shared it in our newsletter that we send out every week. This is going to include a live stream fundraising example, which I know everybody's talking about, is excited to use, or has just recently tried for the first time on Givebutter because it's brand new to our platform. And so I have Michele and Jenny from Soaring Spirits, and they're going to share about their incredibly successful live stream fundraising campaign that is still live and is going to wrap up at the end of this week. Their goal is to raise $100,000, and they have raised over $82,000 so far. So we want to know, how are they doing that? And also, are there tips, tricks, things that we can be using to make our campaigns even more successful, whether they're live or going to be launching in the near future? So I would definitely keep listening if you want to learn more about how to make the most out of Givebutter's live stream. Or if you just want to be inspired by an incredible story. The work that they're doing is really powerful. They're providing community-based resources for widowed people. And I think you're going to want to hear more about that because it's a really touching story, and there's a lot to hear from the two of them today. So welcome. Thank you so much to both of you for representing Soaring Spirits and for joining us today.
It's such a joy to be here, and we have really loved our interactions with Givebutter. So to be able to take it to another level is really fun. Thanks.
Thank you so much. So to start, could both of you introduce yourself, share what your role is with Soaring Spirits, and a little bit about what you guys do, your mission, vision.
So I'm Michele Neff Hernandez, and I am the executive director and founder of Soaring Spirits International. Our work is to provide resource-based programs for widowed people as they rebuild their lives after the death of a spouse or partner. And I'm joined by Jenny.
Hi guys, I'm Jenny. I am our global operations manager, and I help run the day-to-day operations for our programs, be they in person or online or fundraising. And Michele, will you just give a quick update on how the organization started?
Yeah, actually today's our 12-year anniversary, which I shared with Rachel earlier. So it's a perfect day to be sharing the work of Soaring Spirits. I was widowed in 2005 when my husband was killed in a cycling accident. I didn't know where to find other widowed people, and I really just wanted to ask them some questions. And so from that basic desire to connect began the idea and the sort of impetus for the work that Soaring Spirits does. And we really do focus on those peer communities. We focus on making sure that every one of our programs is about connection. And while we do offer valuable resources and we work very hard at making sure that we're providing things that people can use for healing, we also stay pretty focused on making sure that we are encouraging the connections that end up being lifelong friendships. And we really plan, our community is for widowed people by widowed people. So our leadership is all widowed themselves. We've all walked through this experience. And so when we speak about it, we speak about it personally.
And I can attest to the wonderful support that the programs give, because I came to Soaring Spirits very early after the death of my fiance 6 years ago. I through a late night Google search when I couldn't sleep, was looking for some support for widowed people, and it turns out Soaring Spirits was having one of their in-person events in my backyard here in San Diego. And 10 weeks after the sudden death of my fiance, I walked through the doors, and from the very beginning, I was greeted with this community of people who are now some of my second family and best friends 6 years later. Because that peer support is so important and valuable, especially when you're dealing with such an upheaval of your life. So
thank you both for introducing yourselves to you and also to the incredible work that your nonprofit is doing. So to jump a little bit deeper into your campaign, Michele, can you share a little bit more about your live stream phone-a-thon? What was your fundraising strategy? Tell us more.
It was so brand new, and it brought us to Givebutter specifically because we were looking for a platform that would allow us to live stream. And the concept was, we were in the midst of having just canceled a huge in-person event. Actually, we transferred it into online event. And we knew that we were facing a number of fundraisers that were not going to be able to be done in the way that we had planned them. And that equaled about $100,000 of funding that was critical to our mission. So but we also were in this space in the world where we wanted to give back. We wanted this to be an uplifting opportunity for people to connect, to share what matters to them, to be able to share themselves with their community, and in so doing, share their loved one with the community. And so we started with the concept of like a concert or some kind of virtual, and we're like, okay, but we don't know any famous people who might want to do a concert. So if we weren't going to do a concert, the idea of Jerry Lewis telethon came to me. To be honest, it was an inspiration from Mrs. Maisel, the popular show, right? So there's the episode where she's on the telethon and people are calling in, and nobody expects that they're going to make a lot of money on her segment, but they do. And so I just had this vision of what if we just ran 12 hours of content straight and, encouraged people to have that sense of like interacting, not only with our community, but also with their own communities, and having the idea of, how when you're scrolling social media and you see a video, you stop for a second. And so if people were doing all kinds of different things, every time you stopped, maybe it would bring people into our mission. And it also gave us the opportunity to share some powerful testimonials. And so it was a blend of testimonials and programs that we were able to share, mixed in with comedians and dancing and singing, and a variety, just really a variety show. It was phenomenal. And the crux of it was being able to stream live.
Wow. How long did it take you to plan and execute your live stream?
How many days do we have, Jenny? I think 9
days.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so
because we knew too that we were going to be coming to the end, or at least to an adaptation of shelter in place. And by this time, people had been in for so long. We imagined like when a park opened, people were going to be like, I am out of this house. I'm not looking at any more video. And so we felt like kind of the shuttling up to that was coming, and we didn't want to miss the window. And then that was going to be followed immediately by the nonprofit movement that became the second Giving Tuesday now. And so we kind of wanted to really kind of get in a space where that telethon could also take us through Giving Tuesday in whatever way that was going to pan out, which was at that point unclear. So the timing became critical. When the idea really was finally formed, it was like, can we pull this off in 9 days? And so, the answer is we did. And like I said to you earlier, and all the technology gods participated. So we were really grateful.
Wow. I mean, it sounds like it was a lot of factors coming together that built up to this. It was the right time. There was the cancellation of other events that led to your ultimate goal of 100,000. It was capitalizing on one of your organization's strengths, community.
Mm-hmm.
And also something that you said that really is so unique to me is you wanted to give back to your supporters. As you created your live stream, you wanted to create an experience that was enriching for them. And that shows because you were so creative in what you did. And again, I just think it's so impressive that in 9 days you pulled off your first live stream and hours and hours and hours of variety content. I mean,
30-minute segments. We had 24 each day, 48 total, and some of them were getting booked like as the rest of the live stream was going. So
sure.
You're watching me online and I'm also typing over here to be able to answer the person who said they could do tomorrow at 3:00. It was, there were a lot of pieces to it. But as you said, when you walk into fundraising with a goal of also giving back, it adds an element to people's experience that, they find it within themselves to decide why they want to give. And you're giving them all of these different reasons, but basically you're saying, thank you for being a part of our community. This is why we care about it, and giving them the opportunity to discover why they do. And many of our current supporters said it was the first time they felt that they had the opportunity to share Soaring Spirits with their community, because it wasn't grief-based. It wasn't about widowhood. It was instead this, variety show. And many of the people who were participating were widowed themselves. And so there was this beautiful blend of all of the pieces of our lives, including being able to remember people in a public way that was positive and uplifting. And I think people really responded to that. Another reason why the stream on the Givebutter platform is so important for us was that people were sharing their loved ones' pictures, making their donations in honor of their person. It was really, is still a beautiful stream of love, just covering up the whole page.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now so that everybody who's watching can take a look at your beautiful page and some of these incredibly touching pictures and messages on your live supporter feed on the right-hand side. A lot of donations made in memory of, which I was just so moved by, as I'm sure everybody who's watching right now is too, the pictures. So why don't we talk a little bit more, Jenny, I'm going to pass it to you to talk a little bit more about the logistics of running this impressive live stream campaign on Givebutter. What was your experience like?
Well, Givebutter was honestly, I mean, a godsend in this circumstance, honestly. It actually kind of started because we were looking for simple text to give. And I stumbled across Givebutter in an early search, you know, again, knowing that we didn't have a whole lot of time to put this whole thing together. And I saw the text to give option and dove in a little bit deeper. And sure enough, there in front of us was the live stream option. And I, you know, did a double take because I was like, oh my gosh, this could actually give us the ability to reach so many more people and to share what we're going to be hopefully posting from Zoom to our Facebook page and then from Facebook to Givebutter. And so I have a lot of love for your customer support team. They were so fantastic throughout the process, answering questions at literally all hours of the night. At one point I responded to, I think it was Tori, what are you doing awake right now? I could say the same for you. So it was just that level of community or customer service and support that really led us into, you know, being able to work out all the kinks. And the kinks were not on Givebutter side. That was, you know, the Zoom to Facebook and how are we going to get it all linked up? And so yeah, it started with a question and ended with, you know, what you see on your screen. And we're just so grateful because the experience was seamless. It really, truly was.
I'm so glad to hear that. So Jenny, was it another Google search for you?
Oh yeah, Google's like saves my life apparently all the time. Yeah, another Google search. Yeah.
I do want to say too, Rachel, that we've had a lot of experiences with a variety of platforms. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes Jenny will say to me, okay, this is what I think it does. And Givebutter was one of the only platforms we have ever used that delivered on every single thing they said they did. Mm-hmm. And so that's, you know, that's a huge, for any nonprofit, you know, anyone who's ever used any platform knows that they say that it might say this, but it might mean that, or you might have to do this in order to juggle to get what you thought you were going to get. That didn't happen at all with Givebutter. We were so impressed by the fact that it could do all of the things that it said that it would do.
Thank you so much for saying that. I'm glad to hear that you found Givebutter to deliver on what we said that we would deliver and be there to support you through that process. Jenny, what was the onboarding process like for you in setting it up? Like, how long did it take you? What was your experience on the back end of running the campaign like?
Yeah, so I was in touch with the customer service team, and in between responses, I immediately started tinkering around and playing with it. So we created a test campaign that we could use to kind of figure out the connection between all of the different platforms and Givebutter, as well as, setting up this page was so easy. Everything's easily laid out, very user-friendly, very intuitive. There were no real questions as far as like, how do I get this thing to work? It was more, minor questions here and there, but like things like, are you sure it's gonna work? Like that kind of stuff. So yeah, the setting up on the back end was super easy, seamless. And setting up the test campaign was a great idea because we could then use that as a way to test the connection for the live stream. And then beyond that, the actual day of, was populating as it happened. Literally as it happens, the donation pops up in the thread. There is a slight delay when you're doing a live stream between what you're actually doing on Zoom and how that shows up on Givebutter or Facebook, but that was not a problem at all. And yeah, it was. And then beyond that, even the after campaign stuff, such as getting the money from the bank, from you guys to the bank account, all of that was seamless, 100% seamless.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that. It sounds like you're saying that in addition to being seamless, it was really user friendly.
Yeah.
And what stands out to me too is it seems like it was for your supporters as well, because you said it's your first time using Givebutter. I would have thought this is your 10th campaign. Looking at the comments, I mean, they had no problem figuring out how to use that thing. I saw there were pictures that were drawn, photos uploaded, stories and messages. They seem to just find it really intuitive as well.
Yeah, I mean, we had nothing but good feedback.
You can imagine that that's particularly important if they're creating a donation or wanting to make this in dedication of their loved one. So for them to add to this experience, for us as an organization, it adds another layer of care from Givebutter for Soaring Spirits.
I'm going to go ahead and ask my final question here, and I'm curious, this is for both of you, for any nonprofit that's watching right now or reading along with this success story, what would be your tip, trick, lesson learned, word of encouragement to them? Let's say it's their first live stream as well. What would you have to say to them to get the most out of live stream on Givebutter?
So I'll go ahead and share 2 tips that I think were really important to our success. The first one is just really know your community. If you can plan something for the people that you serve and you know their values and you know what they care about and you know why they care about what you do, then you plan around those values and that dedication they have to the mission. And that was one of the reasons why our campaign was so successful, is because we knew that our people would be grateful for the opportunity to share their people, the person they love, the person who's died, and there's not always an opportunity to do that in a public way that's positive and uplifting. And so we were certain that our community would really value what we were doing, and that what was a surprise was how much they shared it and how their community, their personal sphere of influence, were involved in the effort. So that was super cool. It was a super cool side effect. But I think it starts with knowing your community and being able to plan something that they will care about. And then the second thing is really just to be real. Have an experience that's a live experience. We had no idea what was going to happen over these 12 hours. 24 different acts. Every 30 minutes we were changing them out. There were times when we had 3 people in the waiting room. 2 of them were there at the wrong time. 1 of them was there early and none of them were supposed to be there at all. So, we just had like all these crazy things going on. And I would just say, well, so there's a few people in the waiting room, while we're waiting for them, we'll talk about, something else. So it just made it so that people felt like they were part of an actual live stream. And so because crazy things happen in life, crazy things also happen on live stream. So to kind of allow space for that and free yourself from the need for it to be like picture perfect, and instead allow it to just be fun and life driven. And when you do that, people were just really welcoming of that experience, and they totally understood that, something crazy might be going on in the background, and appreciated that we were basically saying the show goes on no matter what. So I just say, make sure that you have fun and that you allow it to be, as crazy as it might be without letting it get you off course.
Yeah. So on my end, I would suggest, the tips would be to really just kind of get dirty with the testing. had we not spent, you know, the hours between, you know, figuring out the Zoom to Facebook live stream capabilities, and the turning on of the cameras and the turning off of the cameras means that on the live stream, you know, even though I was running the tech, I wasn't on screen. Really just kind of take the time to spend to get to know the intricate details of how to work it, because then, and aside from that, having a team to support that effort throughout the length of your campaign, I think it really made all the difference in being able to usher in the new acts, if you will, ushering out of the, you know, the changing of the guards, while also, you know, having a steady support that's there to help with the tech side of things was key to our success. We also had a number of people watching the Facebook live stream as well, because that's where a lot of the commenting would happen with the people that were watching on that platform. So we had a team ready to respond to their comments and or questions, which really helped make the whole thing seamless between all the various platforms. Yeah, and just have fun with it, because if you're completely scared or nervous, all of that will wear off within the first 30 minutes or so. But just have fun, because that's what we're, you know, especially during this time, we're trying to promote positivity and lightheartedness on top of everything that's going on in the world right now. So the more you can have fun with it, the more your folks will have fun with it, and, you know, hopefully we'll support the campaign.
Thank you both so much for those words of wisdom. I think lots of advice for people to take with them as they're launching their campaigns or in the middle of them. So I'm Rachel with Givebutter. Thanks so much for joining for another success story. I know you're going to walk away just as inspired as I am to go promote positivity and do more good. So thank you both for representing Soaring Spirits today in the nonprofit community. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Givebutter, and, you know, we'll be back.
Take care.
Bye.